The most dangerous alliances are forged not through trust, but through necessity. On Earth, in the year 2850, such a pact had reshaped the world itself. After fleeing the ashes of their homeworld, the Vorlens, a species of unparalleled intellect but fragile forms, found refuge among humanity. They offered technology that pushed Earth's limits, creating marvels humanity once only dreamed of. But beneath this exchange lay tension, a silent dance of suspicion and gratitude that neither species dared openly address. Would humanity ever truly trust the Vorlens, whose minds could outthink the brightest human strategists? And could the Vorlens ever feel safe on a planet whose dominant species had a long history of self-destruction? The answers lay in an uneasy coexistence. They needed each other too much to let those questions divide them, at least for now. When the Interstellar Federation of Aligned Worlds, HFY, summoned Earth to join a crucial exploratory mission, it seemed like a chance to cement the alliance. The assignment was bold: investigate Perilous 7, a planet that lay just beyond charted space, marked by odd energy signatures and no prior habitation records. The Federation's message was clear: only a joint human-Vorlen team could ensure success. Captain Lina Rivek, chosen for her diplomatic skill and military precision, was tasked to lead the mission. Her team of 7 would include 3 humans, 3 Vorlens, and an enigmatic observer from the Federation itself. Lena couldn't shake an unease gnawing at her core. Perilous 7 felt too perfect, too clean. As the mission briefing concluded in Earth's orbital station, Lena met her team for the first time. They were an odd assortment of intellects, egos, and agendas, and though introductions were polite, she could feel the fractures beneath their united front. The shuttle engines hummed as departure loomed. Somewhere beyond the stars, Perilous 7 awaited, along with the truth. The shuttle's interior buzzed with restrained tension as Captain Lina Rivek scanned the faces of her team. To her right sat Arlen Voss, the Federation's official observer. His uniform bore no insignia, only a sterile white design that made him seem detached from any true allegiance. His presence was unsettling, watchful, calculating. Directly opposite, Dr. Eris Talon, a Vorlen scientist, adjusted a delicate apparatus in her lap, her long, spindly fingers moving with precision. Talon's sharp, almost crystalline voice broke the silence. Perilous 7's energy patterns suggest irregular quantum fluctuations. If they're natural, they're unprecedented. If artificial, we may be walking into someone's domain. The statement hung in the air. Lieutenant Darren Kane, the team's human engineer, leaned forward, his jaw tightening. And yet, we're here anyway. Seems like the Federation's in quite a hurry to play explorers without doing their homework. Careful, Lieutenant, Voss interjected, his tone cold but polite. Questioning the Federation's motives can easily be misconstrued as insubordination. Kane smirked but said nothing further. Rintev, another Vorlen, shifted uncomfortably. Vorlens were known for their intellect, not diplomacy, and the tension among the humans didn't help the situation. Lena noted it silently. This was exactly what she feared. The descent to Perilous 7 began, the planet's surface growing clearer through the viewports. Its beauty was undeniable, sweeping emerald plains interspersed with jagged silver peaks that shimmered under 2 suns. But the tranquility felt wrong, almost too perfect. As the shuttle touched down, Lena's instincts screamed at her to stay on guard. The ground crew, led by Oren Malrek, their survival expert, began setting up scanning equipment. Meanwhile, Dr. Talon examined the air's composition. Breathable, she said, but unusually dense, almost like it's adapting to us. Voss stood nearby, his gaze fixed on the horizon, where faint structures appeared to rise in the distance. "Captain," he said, his voice neutral, but his words heavy with implication, "we're not alone here. Before we dive deeper into the mysteries of Tyrillon 7, take a moment to show your support. If you're as intrigued as we are by this intergalactic journey, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Let's uncover the secrets of the galaxy together. Your engagement powers this mission forward. The team moved cautiously, their boots crunching against the crystalline soil of Tyrillon 7. Every step felt heavier than it should, as if the planet itself was subtly resisting their presence. Captain Lena Rivek kept her hand near her sidearm, her eyes scanning the horizon for movement. The structures Voss had pointed out earlier loomed larger now, metallic spires that reflected the twin suns like mirrors, their surfaces strangely untouched by time or decay. "This can't be natural," Lieutenant Darren Kane muttered, his scanner emitting a series of soft beeps. "No erosion, no signs of weathering. These spires, they're engineered." Dr. Eris Talon, crouching nearby, ran her slim fingers over the soil. "Engineered, yes," she said, her voice tinged with concern. "But by whom? The energy readings suggest they've been dormant for millennia, and yet—" She stopped, narrowing her translucent eyes at her device. "Something has reactivated them, possibly in response to us." Voss, standing apart from the group, observed them with an unsettling calm. "Then it would seem our arrival has not gone unnoticed," he said, his words clipped as if he already knew more than he let on. As the team approached the base of the largest spire, a low hum began to resonate from within. The sound grew steadily, vibrating through the ground and up into their bodies. Orin Malrek, the survival expert, tightened his grip on his rifle. "Captain," he said, his voice firm but measured, "this place is waking up. I suggest we consider a fallback position." Lena shook her head. "We've barely scratched the surface. Dr. Talon, can you determine the source of the energy signature?" Before Talon could answer, a burst of light erupted from the spire's apex, casting shifting shadows across the plains. The team shielded their eyes as the hum intensified, now almost deafening. When the light faded, a single message materialized in glowing alien glyphs along the spire's surface. Talon's voice trembled as she read the translation aloud. "You are not welcome here." The message glowed faintly, its alien glyphs pulsing with an eerie rhythm that felt almost like a heartbeat. The air around the spire seemed heavier now, dense with something invisible yet oppressive. Lena Rivek exchanged a glance with Dr. Talon, whose usually composed demeanor showed a flicker of unease. "You are not welcome here," Talon repeated, her voice steady but low. "This changes everything. Whatever built these spires is still present in some form." Lieutenant Kane's scanner buzzed sharply. "Captain, I'm picking up movement 3 kilometers east." His voice carried a mix of urgency and apprehension. "It's faint, but it's there." "Could it be the source of the message?" Lena asked, stepping closer to him. Kane shook his head. "Hard to say. The terrain interferes with the readings, but it's not static, it's moving toward us." Rintev, the second Vorlen on the team, stepped forward, their voice unusually quiet. "We should not engage. If this message is truly a warning, ignoring it could provoke escalation." Voss, ever the observer, interjected with a measured tone. "Captain, the Federation sent us here knowing the risks. If this is a threat, it's our duty to assess and report it. Falling back now would only embolden whatever is out there." The team stood in silence, the weight of the decision pressing down on them. Finally, Lena nodded. "We'll investigate, but cautiously. Kane, Malrek, take point. Talon, Tev, stay close and monitor the spires. Voss, with me." As they moved toward the source of the movement, the terrain shifted beneath them. What had appeared to be solid, crystalline ground began to shimmer and ripple, like water disturbed by an unseen force. Suddenly, a loud crack echoed across the plains. The team froze as the largest spire emitted another burst of light, this time forming an expanding dome of energy that raced toward them. "Move!" Lena shouted, but the wave reached them before they could react. The world blurred, and when it stabilized, they found themselves standing in an entirely different place, dark, enclosed, and filled with the sound of low, guttural whispers. The darkness was disorienting, pressing against their senses like a living thing. The air was heavier now, carrying an almost metallic tang, and the guttural whispers seemed to reverberate from everywhere and nowhere. Captain Lena Rivek blinked, her vision adjusting to faint glimmers of light, tiny, pulsing orbs that floated aimlessly through the air. "Everyone, check in," Lena commanded, her voice cutting through the oppressive gloom. "I'm here," Lieutenant Kane replied, his tone shaky but steady. "No injuries." "Same," Dr. Talon added, her hands already gripping a small device to measure their surroundings. "But this isn't the same location. The air composition, the energy signatures, everything's different." Orin Malrek stepped closer, his rifle raised. "Captain, this place feels wrong. I don't think we're on the surface anymore." "Wherever we are," Rintev said, their voice tinged with fear. "This isn't a natural structure. These walls, they're alive." Everyone turned to look at the shimmering surfaces around them. What they had assumed were metallic walls now pulsed with faint rhythmic patterns, as if responding to their presence. Lena reached out cautiously, but Voss stopped her with a sharp motion. "Don't touch it," he warned. "We don't know. What triggers this place? Dr. Talon, what do your readings say?" Talon's eyes darted over her scanner, her expression tightening. "It's reacting to us. The energy here is connected, like a neural network. It's observing, maybe even analyzing us." Before Lena could respond, the whispers grew louder, coalescing into a singular voice, deep, resonant, and filled with something that felt like disdain. "Why have you come?" The team froze, their instincts screaming to run, but there was no visible way out. Lena stepped forward, her voice firm. "We're explorers, here to investigate. Who are you?" The voice rumbled with something between amusement and anger. "Explorers, invaders, destroyers." A low vibration began to ripple through the ground, and from the darkness emerged figures, tall, shadowy, and humanoid in shape, but with glowing eyes that pierced the team's resolve. Lena's hand instinctively moved to her weapon. "Stay together," she ordered. "No sudden moves." The figures halted just beyond the light, their gaze unyielding, and then the voice spoke again. "Prove your worth, or perish." The air thickened as the shadowy figures closed in, their glowing eyes flickering like flames. Captain Lena Rivek tightened her grip on her weapon, but held her fire. The team stood motionless, the tension palpable. "What does it mean by prove your worth?" Kane whispered, his voice barely audible over the faint hum that had replaced the whispers. Dr. Talon, still analyzing with her scanner, answered in a hushed tone. "This entire structure, it's testing us. The energy patterns are shifting in response to our actions. This isn't just an encounter, it's a trial." The central figure, larger and more defined than the rest, raised a hand, and the floor beneath the team shifted. What had been solid ground transformed into a grid of pulsating lights, each square glowing in alternating patterns. The voice returned, low and commanding. "Step forward, choose wisely." Lena glanced at Talon, who nodded faintly. "Captain, these squares, they're emitting energy signatures that vary in frequency. If we step on the wrong one, it might trigger a reaction." Voss, standing behind the group, spoke calmly. "This trial isn't about brute strength. It's designed to challenge us, intellect, strategy, unity. If we fail, it confirms their view of us as destroyers." Lena inhaled deeply, then stepped onto the first square. It pulsed beneath her boot but held firm. Follow my lead. Talon, help me analyze the patterns. Cain, watch for changes. One by one, the team followed, each step carefully calculated. The grid's lights shifted faster, patterns growing more complex. Talon's voice was sharp and quick as she called out instructions, her Vorlens intellect racing to keep up. The figures watched silently, their glowing eyes unblinking. Just as the team reached the final square, a sudden crackle of energy shot across the grid, nearly knocking Rin-Tev off balance. "Captain!" they cried out, their voice trembling. Lena turned, sharply grabbing Rin before they fell. "Hold steady!" she barked. "We're almost there!" With one final step, they cleared the grid and the energy faded. The voice returned, colder this time. "You have passed for now, but the final test lies ahead." The figures dissolved into the darkness, leaving a single path illuminated before them, leading deeper into the labyrinth. The illuminated path stretched into the darkness, its walls shifting subtly as though alive. Captain Lena Rivek took the lead, her steps cautious yet deliberate. Behind her, the team moved in tense silence, their nerves frayed from the trial. They'd just endured. The air grew colder, and the faint hum that had accompanied them earlier now pulsed like a distant heartbeat. "Captain," Dr. Talon said, her voice barely above a whisper, "the neural network I mentioned earlier, it's growing stronger. Whatever controls this place, it's anticipating us." "Or manipulating us," Cain muttered. Voss, calm as ever, interjected. "This is no longer exploration. We are being evaluated. For what purpose, we still don't know, but failure is not an option." The path ended abruptly in a vast, circular chamber. Towering columns of light spiraled upward, casting shadows that seemed to twist unnaturally. At the room's center stood a crystalline structure, its surface pulsating with vibrant energy. Surrounding it were more shadowy figures, silent and motionless. As the team entered, the central structure flickered, and the voice returned, now deeper, almost resonant within their minds. "You have intruded upon sacred ground. Before you lies the core, the heart of what you call Tirelon 7. It holds knowledge and power beyond your comprehension." The team froze as the voice continued. "You claim to be explorers. Prove your purpose. Answer this. Are you creators or destroyers?" Lena felt the weight of the question settle over her. She glanced at Talon, then at Cain, searching for clarity, but found only the same uncertainty reflected in their faces. "We are neither," Lena said finally, her voice firm. "We are learners. We seek to understand, to grow, not to harm." The voice paused, and for a moment silence reigned. Then the core began to glow brighter, its energy surging outward. "Your answer is noted, but words are not enough. The final trial begins now." The chamber began to shift, the floor trembling as the shadowy figures moved, forming a circle around the team. The light from the core darkened, and the air turned electric. The chamber trembled as the shadowy figures closed in, their glowing eyes burning brighter. The crystalline core pulsed erratically, casting jagged beams of light across the room. The air grew thick with an electric charge, as if the planet itself was holding its breath. Captain Lena Rivek raised her hand, signaling the team to hold position. "Stay calm," she said, though her heart pounded in her chest. The voice returned louder now, as if emanating from the walls themselves. "Prove your worth. Show us you are more than the destroyers we have witnessed across the stars." Dr. Talon stepped forward, her Vorlens intellect calculating rapidly. "This is not a test of strength," she said, addressing the voice. "It's a test of understanding. You seek to know if we will respect what we do not yet comprehend." The core's light dimmed momentarily, as if considering her words. Then, without warning, one of the shadowy figures lunged forward. Malrek fired instinctively, his shot hitting the figure squarely. Instead of falling, it dissolved into a burst of light and reformed, closer. "Stand down!" Lena barked, pulling Malrek back. The figures advanced, encircling the team. The core's pulsing accelerated, growing unstable. Talon's voice cut through the chaos. "Captain, I think I understand. The core is linked to the network. It's reacting to our actions. Aggression feeds it." Lena gritted her teeth. "Then how do we stop this?" Talon's eyes glimmered. "Cooperation, trust. We must work as one." The team hesitated, but Lena stepped forward, lowering her weapon. She extended her hand toward the nearest figure, meeting its glowing eyes. The others followed suit, Vorlens and humans standing side by side. The core erupted in a blinding light. The figures froze, then disintegrated into motes of energy that spiraled back into the crystalline structure. The voice returned, softer this time. "You have passed. Unity is the strength of creators. You may leave or stay and learn." Lena exhaled deeply. "We came to learn," she said, her voice steady. The core pulsed once more, then opened, revealing a gateway to knowledge beyond their wildest dreams. As the mysteries of Tirelon 7 unravel, one truth becomes clear. Survival isn't about strength, it's about unity. If this story left you captivated, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more adventures that challenge the limits of imagination. Because in the vastness of space, the greatest battles aren't fought, they're chosen.